NFL draft picks in the college football playoff. And I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time here, but I thought it was worth pointing out that Michigan did not break Georgia's 2022 record of the most draft picks in a single draft. That number is still 15. It's still set by a 2022 Georgia team that was ridiculous, right? But 13 is still going to get it done, right? I think that's indicative of a team that won the national championship. But it also, when you look down the list, kind of understand why the teams that were playing in the playoff were the teams playing in the playoff. So we had 13 from Michigan. We had 11 from Texas. We had 10 from Alabama. We had 10 from Washington. We had 10 from Florida State. I'm including Florida State because I'm always going to include Florida State. We're talking about playoff teams in the 2023 season because I know, like you know, they were robbed. Full stop. Undefeated. Won a Power 5 championship. You left them out because the quarterback was hurt. I'm never going to forgive that select committee for that because I would be incensed, and I'm not a Florida State fan. I could care less, right? Otherwise, be fair about this. Now, I also think it's important to note that Georgia had 8 players drafted in this 2024 go-round, and that's interesting because Alabama had 10, right? Alabama beat Georgia, SEC championship. It makes sense. Retrospective look at the college football playoff through the NFL draft. Oh, okay, cool. They got more dudes than you do when we're talking about guys that actually get drafted. We can say 5-star, we can say 4-star, we can say 3-star. But what does the NFL think? You call it anecdotal if you want to, but those men get paid a lot of money to make these sorts of judgments. So let's try to trust their judgment whenever we can. Other thing to point out here is Texas having 11, Michigan having 13. Texas won a Big 12 championship. Texas could have beaten Washington, didn't, in the college football playoff. And Texas feels like Georgia, 2016 going into 2017. They feel like they are about to go on a tear. As an Oklahoma fan, I'm terrified by this. If you're a Texas fan, you ought to be feeling this because a couple of things come into focus here. A few years ago, Texas didn't have nobody drafted. We were making jokes about the last time they had a first-round draft pick. Now, they've got 4 years of the same head coach, 4 years of the same defensive coordinator, 4 years of the same special teams coordinator. They got a guy behind center that we all know is good. They got another guy behind him we can't wait to see play. They're not going to miss Adonai Mitchell, although they might miss Xavier Worthy, but Jonte Cook's still that dude. Jonathan Brooks goes down with the ACL. You still got C.J. Baxter, who was the starter as a true freshman anyway. Pete Kwiatkowski continues to find guys like Anthony Hill and turn them into dudes. You saw what Tavondre Sweat was, what Byron Murphy was. It's hard for me to look at Texas and not think, ooh, that might be the team representing the SEC as the SEC champion in 2024. And they got an opportunity to show that when they go up to Ann Arbor against Michigan. And the more I look at what I saw from Michigan and Sharon Moore in year one, the more I know what I saw from the backup quarterback at Texas in the same amount of time. I got a hard time not looking at Texas going, y'all going to have a balanced breakfast over there in Michigan, because that's how it feels. It feels like they're about to go on a tear. If you believe that Michigan is great, and they are also in the middle of a tear, they should beat Texas. Full stop, right? Think about what they've done to Ohio State the last 3 years. Think about the trajectory that Jim Harbaugh had them on. Think about how they haven't needed to go into the portal like everybody else. As I'm going to point this out, Texas got 11 new transfers in, right? They were selective. Michigan can do that, chose to go with a bunch of guys they already know about. We're going to get to find out a lot about those two programs, and we're going to get to find out a lot about the SEC and Big Ten, because we also got Alabama, Wisconsin. People forgot about that one on the menu. I'm excited about this, but looking at what the NFL draft has told us about these teams from last year, and then looking at what they were able to add in 2024 and what we know about these coaches, what we know about the players, what we know about the veterans. Yeah, all right. It's going to be raucous. We're going to have a good time in 2024. I'm excited about this, man. This is also a year in which losses don't matter as much as they used to for the first time in a long time, because we got 12 teams in the playoff. We're also going to see more games being played by teams, because it's going to have 16 teams or 16 games for a national champion this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. On the way out here, Pac-12 in its last year produced the second most NFL draft picks of any conference in the United States, and the number one overall pick since we're here. I don't know that we're ever going to come back from how the Pac-12 fumbled being a Power 5 conference and got just absolutely destroyed by the Big 12 and the Big 10, but it's their own fault. That's all I got on that one, man. Like, I keep looking at that going, take it all the way back to Larry Scott. Pac-12 Conference of Champions, all that history just gone, along with these 43 players that were selected. And by the way, that's more than the SEC, that's more than the Big Ten, that's more than the ACC, that's more than the Big 12. Yeah, the number one overall pick. Come on, guys. Anyway, those are Big Ten teams now. You know, that's how we're looking at that. That Big Ten about to get a really great bump, you know, depending on how you look at Oklahoma and Texas. So could they. All right. Last topic that I wanted to talk about before we get out of here was this really cool story that is Reggie Bush receiving his Heisman back from the Heisman Trust. This is a thing that I and many others had been calling for some time. We were calling for it when Reggie gave it back, going, I wouldn't have gave them that. Nah, keep that, dog. But also in this, USC gets to have their association with Reggie Bush as a Heisman winner once again. One of the things that came down from this that I think kind of got pushed under was USC had to lift up his trophy and take it out. They had to take down his jersey. They had to scrub Reggie Bush, one of the greatest college football players of all time, from their annals. It didn't sit right with us then. It doesn't sit right with us now. It's nice to see that the Heisman Trust has finally got on a good foot with the rest of us and going, you know what? If Reggie was getting paid, fine. The rules are the rules now. Give him his Heisman back. I know that there's a lot more to unpack there, but I was struck by how this story also is great for Reggie. It's great for USC, but how it really underlines what I wanted for college football and what I wanted for its players, which is choices. The way I get at this is there is this quarterback in Texas you might have heard of by the name of Arch Manning. You know, Mike can sling it. Maybe his granddaddy was pretty good. Maybe his uncles were pretty good. I don't know. Maybe you know. He has decided that he's going to opt out of this game that we've been waiting on for damn near a decade, literally, to play. That is an iteration of what was NCAA 14. It's called EA Sports College Football. The reason that game was shelved, Ed O'Bannon brought a lawsuit about them being able to profit off his name, image, and likeness when he wasn't himself. And then they shuttered the game because they didn't want to deal with the lawsuits, and I understood that, right? So name, image, and likeness is about a video game. And don't let anybody ever tell you anything different. That is the reason this was a big deal. We all want to play this game. The kids were like, I don't care if you pay me $2. I don't care if you pay me 50 cents. I just want to be in the game, all right? Put me in the game. Give us the game back, because now I got a bunch of kids that don't know from NCAA. They all play Madden. So I'm going to be interested to see how many folks playing the PS5 want to catch these hands from me on the Twitch. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, the thing that I thought was most interesting about that is Arch Manning chose to opt out. He's got his reasons. He doesn't want to associate with name, image, and likeness. The Manning family has been pretty pristine in all things, but Arch has been a boomer's dream of a college football player. He wants to go to school. He wants to play football. That's it. He don't want no money. He doesn't really want the fame. He doesn't really want to talk to anybody. He just wants to go out there and sling it. That is a septuagenarian dream of a college football player. But that ain't 98% of college football players. But you know what else? He got the choice there, right? If he doesn't want to do it, he ain't got to do it. Whereas Reggie, who wanted the money and wanted to do it, he would do it. Also, I'm thinking about this, and you know, look, Matt Leinart works at Fox, so let me preface it by saying this. But do you know how much money Matt Leinart would have made if he was allowed to profit from his name, image, and likeness? Okay, Reggie won the Heisman Trophy on the way out. He was going to the Saints. You know, he was already going to be with Miss Kardashian and whatnot. Another discussion altogether. But Matt was returning with a Heisman Trophy, like the Caleb Williams package. That thing that he got this past year, making tens of millions of dollars, that was what Matt Leinart would have had 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about generational wealth for generations and generations after your generation. You know what I'm saying? I could keep saying generations because that's what it means. That Arch Manning is in a position to say no says more about his family and what the outlook of his future is going to be like than it does anything else. It also really underscores what I love most about living in this country, right? You get to say whatever you believe. Everybody else gets to say what they believe back, and you got to listen to it. If Arch didn't want to do it, Arch ain't got to do it. I love that. I love that for him. I love that for us. I want the kids to take full advantage of this opportunity if they can. And if they choose they don't want to, that's fine. I'm also going to add here, name, image, and likeness has made way for the Austin Award to become a bigger deal. The Austin Award, for those of you that don't know, is an amount of money that universities can pay to student athletes across sports for making good grades. Full stop. You can get $59.80. Yeah, $59.80. So $5,980 a semester for making good grades. And at a place like the University of Tulsa, it can be as much as $8,000. So there are still ways for you to make money being an athlete that don't really have much to do with you playing. And it has to do with everything that everybody wanted for you when you first decided to go to college, which is to get your education. That's cool. I choose to believe that is awesome.
If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.